Hi, in this lab we're going to explore how to configure Centrify Identity Service or Privilege Service to allow strong authentication using either smart card or using an Auth OTP token. This could be your YubiKey or it could be Google Authenticator. We're going to focus in this in the Auth OTP scenario. And the reason, although Identity Service does provide multi-factor authentication built in, sometimes organizations may want to use other OTPs. Maybe they have contractors that they don't want to be able to issue smart cards or allow them to use those authentication factors. So we're going to explore first the contractor scenario in which they're going to be able to use their YubiKey as an auth device or the Google Authenticator. Remember that with Centrify, multi-factor authentication is available for different contexts, right? So one of them is server access for Unix, Linux, right? So very user-friendly. Also, privilege elevation for Windows, and as well for applications, a single checkbox, and also policy, right? So let's go ahead and explore this. So what I have here is I have Cloud Manager. I created a policy that is going to work for contractors only. So I'm going to go to contractors and I'm going to explore what the settings that I set up. I've set up login authentication and notice that if the identity cookie is not present, it's going to ask for the contractor profile. We'll see what that is. I've also enabled Auth OTP, and I've onboarded my user using the QR code for Google Authenticator, right? Remember, there's a lot of options available today, and many growing every month. Let's expose that authentication profile. So the authentication profile for contractors that I've defined is basically going to ask the contractor for either a phone call or an OTP code, and then it's going to be challenged for their password when they initiate connection. So we can take it really easily for a ride. I have um, uh, a another browser window here. I'm going to just initiate an incognito window session, right? So we're going to access my portal, and I have a user named Gary, right? So Gary. So what's going to happen is Gary is coming from an unidentified client, so he's going to be challenged, right? So the first challenge is going to be you either give me your Google Authenticator or YubiKey, right? So if he had these YubiKey, if I had it onboarded here, I could just simply, touch my YubiKey and I'm going to be exposed with the code. Although this is for another user. In this case, I have Google Authenticator. I think I have it on my phone right here, ready to go. So I'm going to expose the code with Google Authenticator 025788. And what you're going to see is that the user is going to then challenge for the password. This is a secondary control that allows to protect the password of the user or for somebody that tries to denial service attack the user because they know their credential and the portal address. So in this case, I'm going to be able to authenticate. And notice that I'm going to be securely authenticated already, right? The way you onboard a codes is very simple. You can just simply go to the account, and if this is enabled, you're going to be able to configure it that way. Also, you have different passcodes. You're going to be able to expose them here too. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. The browser already has a cookie, so I should be able to log in normally. And just my password in this case, I can actually set this up so he's always challenged for multi-factor, especially because he's a contractor. I don't want him. He doesn't exist in AD. Notice right here, now I have an application, GoDaddy console, right? So the way I've set up this application in Access Manager is that it does require a multi-factor authentication to log in. It has a vaulted credential, so that avoids that the user is going to have any ability to modify the password. So I set up a policy that says require strong authentication. Very simple, just a simple checkbox. And if my user needs access to this, they're going to have to provide step-up authentication. So I'm going to repeat this again. I'm going to copy my code, in this case 465167. Uh, and Notice what's going to happen is they're going to be able to log in with my account that they have ready. So we've proven that not only we can actually have a policy that only applies to specific populations, but also that we can require strong authentication in the context of accessing the portal or also as well being able to access applications. The next thing is server access, right? So Centrify CPS allows people to access servers. In this case, this user has a manual session, and Gary, has been granted the ability to do that. All he needs to do is click on that, and provided that I've set up everything correctly, he'll be able to initiate a session. In this case, I'm using another account that I know, and he'll be able to log in and perform his functions. If I wanted to publish a Windows server for him, I can do that. But the key here is we're limiting visibility, we're requiring strong authentication, we're protecting apps, we're protecting server access. So I'm hoping this video was beneficial to you.